Hi there, this is Gary from Trotec Australia. Here today to show you an instructional video about the Trotec T3000. Let's have a look. Okay, here we are here, the Trotec T3000. So, let's turn the unit on. Now you have to hold the button till it makes a little beep. Then what happens is it starts to warm up. Okay, we're in business. So, let's go to the settings button. Now with the settings, I can go into English here, click on English. It might be in Deutsch, which is German when you first turn it on, but we'll keep it on to English. Okay. Then metric, I can change it from metric or imperial. We'll keep it on metric, being in Australia. Now I can go my down arrow to here. This is my brightness. So I can go my cross arrow, make it brighter. We'll do that for demonstration. Okay. So then what we'll do, you can actually go in and change the date. You tick on that and I can change the date and the time. That's set to the correct date and time. So we'll leave that there. Then what we'll do is we'll go to the cross arrow here. Now, the timer, this is the timer for the actual unit to go dull, to go dim, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to set that on 5 minutes, just in case. I'm touching it here and there, okay? Then what we'll do is we'll show you this one. This one is to turn the unit off. So if I do not touch the unit at all, if I don't touch it, it'll turn off automatically within 10 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour. Okay, we'll keep it on 10. And then we've got our this is our volume, our button clicking. Okay, so what it does, it makes a noise, so we can turn it off. And then what happens is when I click the button, there's no noise. See, I'm clicking the button there, so we'll go back in and we'll turn that on. Okay. Now you hear it click again. We can change the dew point. When we read our relative humidity and temperature, it'll either pick up dew point, relative or absolute humidity, or mixing ratio. So you can choose which one of those you'd like to have. Then we go to our third screen, and this is our airflow sensor. So our airflow sensor, we've got our meter cubed a minute and meter cubed an hour and so forth. So you can get to choose one of those. And then for calibration, it's choosing the sensor. And then for dew point, you've got here choices for when you want to set the dew point. So if it's 70%, it'll come up with critical, or 75 or 80 or 100%. Whatever you set that to, but we know from 70% onwards, it can be critical towards mold growth. Okay, so we'll go back. Let's go to the measurement mode. Let's talk about wood. So with wood, let's talk about how we change that. So with the wood, we've got Douglas fir up here in the top. So let's say that we wanted to change that. Let's show you how I change that to Douglas fir. Click on this. Oh, clear that out. Now, let's show you how to change it. We can go up for D, down for O, down for U, because it's close to the end of the alphabet, up for G. Okay, so now we're on there. We've got Douglas fir. We can see we've got all the Douglas sort of words here. So what we can do is tick on that. Now we go down to Douglas fir. Now we tick on that. Now we've chosen Douglas fir. So we like to choose Douglas fir because it's a medium density timber. Then we've got a graph on our website that we can do plus or minus depending on which timber that you have. You've got here your percentage of moisture. Then here we are our fixed temperature. What we can do is we've got an internal sensor to pick up the temperature of the timber, or we can have a fixed temperature. Let's leave it on fixed temperature, and what we'll do is we'll go down to the settings button, and what we'll do on the settings button is we will change it. So we'll go down arrow, here, tick on this, and let's change it to 42. And then we save that. Now you'll see that it's changed to 42. Okay, so let's go back and show you how to change that back again. So we'll show you one more time. We go down, tick on it. We'll take it back to 22. Okay, and save. Right, let's check this little piece of timber we have here as a demonstration purpose. We've got our hammer probe here with our insulated pins. So what we're going to do, we've made two little holes here. We'll go these two little holes here just like so, and we'll pop that in these two little holes. Got these little sharp pins they are. Okay, now we're going in. Okay, so we're reading around about the 9.9%. 10%. Let me show you something here. If we go back to the settings button and we go down, we press on this tick and we change that to 42. Let's say we're doing a bit of heat drying. Then we go to the save button, change that to 42. You have a look what happens. We have instantly dropped from around 10% down to about 7.5%. The reason being is because the timber's going to read different at different temperatures. So some of the meters that are sold out there in the industry have one setting, where if you're adding energy to that timber and you're not allowing for that, you're going to have a different reading. Example, if I go into a property, let's say I'm drying a frame, and let's say it's 18%, and I want to get it under 15%. And I heat the frame up from 20 degrees up to 40, and I come back and take a reading and it says 15%, it might still be 18% because you haven't allowed for the heat of the actual timber because you've heated it up. Okay, so let's just show you some of the other things it can do. Right, so also here, you've got your minimum, your maximum, and your average. So what we can do with your minimum, maximum, and average is you can see what minimum reading you've taken, the maximum reading you've taken, the average, and you can actually put it on hold so you can take a photograph of the actual reading, right? So you can go, I want it set on minimum, and here it says, in 4 minutes timing here, what our minimum was at that temperature, right? And then we can go back in here and go, okay, let's go back in here and go, what was our maximum? In 4 minutes, our maximum is 12.6. Okay, let's go back in here and go, well, what was our average that we took? 7.8 was our average of that area. And we can go back in here and we can go to hold. And what that does on hold, it'll take, where it is, it'll take a picture, right? It's good to have a picture. So we're going to turn that off, and that takes that out of the category there, right? So what we can do here and show you how it graphs. So before we do our graphs, what we can do here is we go into the settings, and what we can do is we can set our width and height. So we can build a square on a timber floor or a wall or whatever we are checking. We can build the size of the area that we're checking. Okay, so we can build that size of the area, right, for that to calculate, right? So that's on. So we could say it's a 2x1 area. Now, with that, we can go into our mapping. And with our mapping here, what we can do is we can click on this left-hand side here, touchscreen, and it's reading 8. And then it's reading 7, and then it's reading 8, 7, and 7. And these are all the readings that we're taking in the quadrant. And then we can say, okay, we need to miss a box because this is an area where we're not taking. And then we go back and we take another reading, and so forth. And then we can say, okay, well, now we need to get to the next column, and we took 3 readings in the next column. Then we miss another column, and then we can take 3 more readings. right? And then we can save that. So then that's an area where we can actually save and send it back to the reporting of the actual T3000. You get a free reporting. There is an upgraded reporting that you can get, but that's for the free recording. Okay, so you've got the with the reporting software, you know, there is a free one again, and then there's the professional one. So we'll go back out of this. Okay, so with that, you've also got an option to do an automatic one. So this is automatic, where what we can do automatically is take readings of the area, right? So with the readings, we can go in here and we can work out, we want to take a reading every 5 minutes, we want to take a reading every 10 minutes, we want to take a reading every 30 minutes or every hour, and it does it automatically. This is an automatic setup, right? So that's actually taking readings right now, you know. Okay, right now it's recording, it's taking readings. Okay, so now that's going to take a reading depending on what we set the parameters for. And then I can stop that. Right, okay. We save that, and then I can go back in and say, no, I want to take a reading every 5 minutes. So if we've got something set up automatically where we've got some instrument that's inside a wall, or you know, or a hygrometer, or whatever we want to take, we can take that automatically without anybody being there. All right. So we can pause it and so forth. So that's a little bit about how the wood side of things works. Let's go back. Let's go into the building moisture. Okay, so what we're going to do with the building moisture, we're going to set up a probe. Okay, let's set up a probe. We'll pull this hammer probe out and we'll set up a probe. We're going to set up our little ball meter, which is our T660 attachment. So this is what it looks like, just like this. Now what it's doing is you've got to hold it. You want to hold it underneath this line. You don't want to hold it above that line. So what it's doing right now, it's calibrating. So let's have a look. Done that up nice and tight. That's good. Okay, so what we're going to do is show you how it works on this. Make a little bit of room here. How it works on this concrete. We've got a piece of concrete here, okay? So with the actual meter, we've set it on cement. So what we can do is we can take readings. So it's 1.2223. We want that reading. We want that reading on the CM, the calcium carbonate reading. We want that under 2. So at the moment it's 0.4. It's really dry, right? So the top one is done on a volume mass. So you want that usually under about 3.5. But the CM, you want that under 2. Okay? So I can also change this from cement floor to screed or grout or no material, which is just building material. And it's just going to give you a digit, just a relative scale. Okay, it's just going to give you a relative scale. And we're going to work out usually under 50 is pretty good, and over 80 you can start to get some dampness, especially in timber floors. So this is a dielectric meter, so it's very sensitive. It will go in 40 mil into surfaces, so between 20 and 40 mil. Okay, so again we can do our minimum. So we can go back there and say, well, hang on, what was our minimum? We've been checking for 1 minute and our minimum was 5.2. Okay, what was our maximum? Our maximum was 52 and so forth. So it does that, right? And we'll turn that off. Exactly. So there are your different settings here, and it's exactly the same setting as before. We go into the setting and we can set our alarm now on depending on what digits. We can say, okay, well, hang on, I want I don't want it getting, if it goes over, say, 20, we're going to use that for example, right? I want to press the say button. I want to make a beeping sound. I want to get my alarm to go off. There we go. There's our alarm. It's reading over 20, my alarm's going off. Under 20, no alarm. Over 20, alarm. Okay, so we'll go back in and we'll set our alarm. Press the tick button. Back to 200. Press the save. That's the maximum. Okay, so the alarm's really not set unless you hit maximum. So with that as well, you can set exactly how we did before with timber. What is the size? What is the height? What is the width? What is the size? Okay. Now, then you can do the graphing just like we did before. We can go here and take a reading and take another reading and skip again and take a reading and skip over here and take a reading. So you can actually graph it out and let you know how much it was reading in those different areas. Okay. We're going to close that. All right. Now, that's a little bit about how we use that sensor. Let's go and check out another sensor. We're going to check out humidity. We're going to put the hygrometer on now. So the hygrometer, it's looking for the sensor right now. So it's looking for the sensor and we're just plugging that in. We know we're looking for the sensor, so we can't work unless we've got a sensor. Okay, so let's try him now. Hey, we've connected up the sensor. And here's our hygrometer here, our in-depth hygrometer. Okay, so right now, with our hygrometer, we'll move this out of the way. We are checking out our temperature, our humidity, and our dew point. And you can remember what we were doing before, where we could change that dew point before or absolute humidity or your mixing ratio. Okay, so with that, I will show you how we can work this. So if we go in here, again, we can have our minimum, our maximum, our average, and our hold. So we go, well, what was our minimum humidity we just checked? We've been checking less than a minute. Our minimum was, humidity was 21.2. Our max, and then our temperature minimum was 23.4. Okay, so it actually gets there and it tells you what your minimum was. We can tell you what your maximum was. Okay, then you can reset these and go back to zero and start again. So with the timing button, again, we can do it all automatically. We can set it to have the humidity taking readings every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, every 30 minutes, or every hour. We can do it manually or we can do it automatically. We'll go back. Okay. So that's a little bit about how this works for your hygrometer. Okay, let's talk about the next one. Let's talk about the temperature sensor. We'll disconnect that one and we'll put on the temperature sensor. So right now it's going, where's my temperature sensor? Where are you? Well, we'll just put him on right now so we can have a look. Hey, there we are. So what this actually does, this actually checks our temperature. So we're going to use this little brick here. Okay? We're going to use this concrete brick. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check our temperature. And you want it as flat as possible. 23.2. Now, if you've got a rough surface, what we do with our rough surface, we have a little bit of goo that we could put on the end to actually get a better conductivity on a rough surface. But if it's on a smooth surface, we can try it on the table here. .9. It's very, very accurate. You can have it in depth or you can have it just on your surface. Again, we can have manual readings or we can have our automatic setup as well. So it's fantastic that this meter does all of these things. Okay. Now this is the hydrogen, that's for your gas leakage. So if you're doing gas, we don't have a gas sensor here to show you, so we're just basically showing you the rest of the meter. So with your archive, then it shows you, hey, you've got something in there. I can go and have a look at what happened on that particular thing in the computer. So I can have a look at, well, hey, this is what happened, and do I want to upload it to the computer, or do I want to trash it? Do I want to get rid of it? We'll get rid of it. Delete that. Yes, we want to delete that. So now there's nothing on the meter. So you find it now it's empty. Okay, so we can store a lot of jobs in here that we've actually gone out and checked. Okay, so that's a little bit about how the T3000 works. So from there, the T3000, I'll be showing you another video. Check out our other video on what comes with the T3000 and what you can do with it. This is a video of how the screen works, but check out our other video of what comes with it. Thanks so much for your time and thanks for watching.